A little choppy, huh? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Humble host, as always, David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And it looks like we got some jumpy whatever going on. Hmm. We'll see if this stream even lasts. I might have to reboot the computer. I greet you in the honor of the infinite creator. Yes, I'm home. Do I look choppy out there to y'all? Because it looks choppy to me. Hey, Witch Moon, Chloe. I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Davrumsk, how are you? Oh, it is good to be sitting in this chair and not in the hospital. By the grace of God, my friends, this was a freaking close one. I will warn you, I might get a little emotional. This was a close one. I look in there in the bathroom where Duggar's laying. Hey, Teresa. Well, I was already on my way. I just got your message on my cell phone. Oh, God, the door was open to the house. Duggar wasn't even here. We pulled up, and he heard the truck, and Duggar come a running from someplace. No idea how long the door had been open to the house. But and Rob, who came and found me, and Rob, who brought me, blessings to my good buddy Rob forever. But I'm looking right over there to the bathroom. Well, hang on a second. Over there where Duggar's laying is where I was at on the floor. That's where I was. This bruise here, I got a bruise on my head. My knees all skin up. In my stupor morning about dawn, all I could think of was, I got to tell Rob. So I got to my cell phone and found his number. However, I did it, I was in a really bad fog. And I just texted him. I said, "You got to come check on me." Well, God bless him. He came about 10 o'clock. And I had made it back over to my couch bed over there. And I was trying to sit up and had my machine. We were checking my pulse rate, and it was like 173. I said, "Take me to the hospital, please." And off we went. And about halfway into Moultrie, I called 911, and they called the hospital. And as soon as he rolled me into the emergency room, I gave him my name, always the birth date. "Hey, Teresa, Barry, how are you?" And they took me right in to the emergency room. There was a bunch of people there waiting to get in. I went right through the door. So at that time, my heart rate was 185 and had been pinging because it was 173 here. So it had jumped by the time we got to the hospital, which is only, he, Rob was hauling ass, let me tell you. And we got there in less than 15 minutes ish. So it took them all day. I stayed in the ER until late that evening. They didn't have any beds upstairs. So I stayed in the ER all evening, and they kept shooting this juice to me to get my pulse rate down. And finally, they got it below 100. And they were like, "Whew!" And I was like, "No, my pulse rate is like 65. I'm not going to be happy till I see it come down below 70, right?" But anyway, so the next day, Dr. Upong was there early in the morning checking on me because I'm his patient. I went downstairs by 10:30, and they prepped me, and they poked me in the arm here. See if there's a good shot. There's a really nice size hole right there, and my whole arm is black and blue from where they did the heart cath. And then after looking at my heart, noticed another blockage. So he decided to send me to Thomasville, which is 30 miles away. Took him 2 hours to come get me, number one. So I just had to wait and wait. Now, all this time I'm NPO, which means I haven't had anything to eat, and I can't have anything to eat. Finally, they come and get me, and I go to Thomasville. I've been in Thomasville's hospital, Archibald, before. So now they wheel me into the cardiac unit, and the first thing they do is change my gown and everything and change me from Moultrie's colors to Thomasville's colors. It was really weird. Moultrie stuff don't go with our stuff, and so they stripped me down. It was really strange, gowned and all. And so they prepped me for the procedure. Hey, Scotty boy, it's good to see you. So they prepped me for the procedure in Thomasville. So knocked me out again. You know, they were rude in Thomasville, but it was late in the evening and everybody was tired, and they had had a lot of patients that day, and they had lost their patients that day. And somebody's trying to call me. Hang on, yo. Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm home.
Well, I missed your call this morning because my phone was turned off. Was charging up, was dead. No, I just happened to notice a little bit ago. So you got home all right, huh?
Yep, finally. Yep, I'm home.
How'd you get home?
Um, our good buddy Rob.
Okay, that's good.
Yep, it's good. Yeah, well, the reason I called you was to tell you I was headed home.
Oh, okay.
That was the thing. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, how you feeling?
Not too bad. You know, it's been a really one hell of an ordeal.
I know it has, man.
And you know, with all the stuff I talked about, and so you know, got home and the door was open, wide open. Duggar was gone. The air conditioner's been heating, you know, cooling the outside for God knows how long. But you know, when he heard the truck coming, he ran down the driveway, and he's in there now laying down. But and Rob had put food out, but he wouldn't eat. So I gave him something to eat as soon as we got home, and his bowl's soaking in the sink now. I'll feed him better in a little bit.
He worried about you.
Oh yeah, he was whining and all over me, and I was all over him because I miss my dog. I miss my Duggar, you know.
Well,
Yep. I woke up this morning, and the first thing I said was, "Duggar, I'm coming home." I mean, I had tears in my eyes for whatever it was, and it was about 7 o'clock this morning before they brought breakfast, and I was just, Duggar, I'm coming home. You know, I'm coming home. You know, because I missed him too.
you sound so much better.
Yeah, well, I'm home.
You ain't frustrated with that damn doctor.
Nope. I apologized to him this afternoon though. Hey, Miss Pearl, I'm doing a live stream and everybody's listening. So
Okay, just check with me later on.
okay, well it's all right. Everybody's listening. Hey, Miss Pearl, how you doing? But what?
We'll talk to you later on.
Well, you know, I love you, my brother, and it is so good to be home. And I'll tell you what, after all the enzymes and everything that was in my heart, and um, Rob and I talked about it, and I, as we sat here when I first got here, and I said, you know, I was laying in there on the floor. I said, how long would it have been? Hey, Susie Q, how long would it have been before somebody came and found me if I had not texted him? And he looked at me and he shrugged his shoulders and he said, I don't know.
You need to get you one of those medical alerts.
I'm really considering that, falling and can't get up. I'm really considering it.
Well, I mean, I can get one for free, and what they do is they contact somebody like Rob so they can check on you.
Right.
And then you know, you need one definitely where you at right by yourself. Hell yeah.
After this last episode, I have to reconsider a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. All right. Well, listen, I will talk to you later, okay?
Okay, well, love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was fixing to get to. Is that I seriously have to reconsider things like one of them falling and can't get up things. But so by the grace of God, he came over here and picked me up and took me to the hospital. And where I was getting to with that is that my pulse rate had been such that it triggered an enzyme inside the heart. And the enzyme that gets triggered is through the muscle. And the AFib is sort of electrical, where the muscle is physical. And so the AFib was going like this, 185 beats per minute, and the heart was doing its normal thing. And, you know, so there was overpressure. Well, it was so bad that it created a certain enzyme with the heart that says, hey, I'm a heart attack. This was a close one, my friends. This was a close one. And so my neighbor came over just a little bit ago. You know, Miss Sheila, y'all know who Miss Sheila is, and she gets in the chat once in a while. And I told him, I said, I'm going to have to start calling you once a day just to say, hi, neighbor. I'm still breathing. Hey, Amber Dawn, how are you? And because this was a close one, way, way, way too close. But here's the thing, it was not my fault. I didn't do anything. I ran out of the metroprenol. And the metroprenol is what keeps the heart from going into AFib. And the blame goes back to my heart doctor's office, who did not refill my metroprenol. But now that I know, this will not happen again. I will not run out of that medication over there. Hey, Sheila, how are you? Was it just talking about you? Well, either that or I'm going to call you, because this was just too damn close. I mean, I literally blacked out. Blacked out. I've had sinking feelings and, ooh, I better find a place to sit down. Ooh, I better do something. This was none of that. All of a sudden, I woke up on the floor. I have no idea how long I was there, only the Duggar was standing over me. And that has terrified me. I mean, I was sitting here just a bit ago, you know, and Rob was over there, and I said, how long would it have been? Now, when Ricky was just here, and he said, well, I would have been over here about noon. And I was like, yeah, but I was already in a situation where it had triggered that enzyme for the heart attack. And so if I'd been laying here another 3 or 4 hours at 185 to possibly more beats per minute, that would have triggered another enzyme and possibly a full-blown heart attack. So by the grace of God, I'm still here. And I've learned a lot. You know, there's a lot of medicines that I could let go for a couple of days, but not the metroprenol. You know, not the metroprenol. Shoo! Not that one. But I'm very gracious. You know, for every time that something happens, we should learn a lesson. Um, Close, but you weren't ready. Nope, not nope, not ready to check out. Ricky is a good old boy. He really is, honest to God. If you know good old boys, real good old boys, Rick, that's Ricky. I'm glad for you to see me, as Justin Wilson used to say. I'm so glad for you to see me, you know. And I learned a lot about the heart again, you know, and that's one thing, if anything, I can pass along to some folks, you know. There are things that you should do that's heart healthy and blah, blah, blah. Get the hell out. Oh, one of the things I want to say also is never give up, because I was laying on the floor going, now what do I do? And the strength had drained from me, you know. And I said this the other night, I think, or last night, I can't remember. Things are kind of jumbled. But I spent 3 days in the swamp in August, of all things, which is like this time of year, but like towards the beginning of August. But that's when I spent the 3 days in the swamp when the two spirits took me off. And I should have died that weekend because I had no water, and it was like 100 degrees outside during the daytime. It was really hot. You know, it's dog days. It's always like this. And I had no water and no food, and ended up making it those 3 days. And I still don't know how I made it. So in a way, it's like almost an anniversary that here I was in the hospital for 3 days, not counting today, you know, but I was in the hospital for 3 days, and, you know, close to seeing angels again. And so one of the things, there was a gentleman that was a couple of doors down from me. I was in 503, and he was in 506. But anyway, and that gentleman, an elderly gentleman that we were, I was a year older. I am a year older than him. And we were having a chat, and he said, you know, I was in a coma for 45 days. And he said, they were going to unplug me 3 times, and I came back. And I said, can I ask you a personal question? And he said, what? And I said, did you see anything while you were in that coma? And he was standing there next to the bed here in my room just a couple hours ago. And he said, yes. And he said, most people don't believe me. And I said, I believe you already. So what did you see? And he said, I was in a white room. And I said, I have been there. And I said, in that white room, I said, and he said, it had walls. And I said, but the walls weren't really walls, were they? And he looked at me and he goes, you're right. He said, they weren't really walls, but they were. And he said, but everything was white. And he said, and there were people in there all dressed in white. And he said, I couldn't see their face. He said, there was smoke in the room and you couldn't see their face because it was smoky. He said, yeah. And I was like, I've been there, you know. And so he said, then Gabriel, he said his name was Gabriel, an angel. And he spelled it Gaberil or whatever, you know. And I said, yep. And he said, he told me, he said, it's not time for you to die. Then he said, but when you wake up, you will be a different person. I was like, dude, I am with you. And so 45 days in a coma, and they were going to unplug him. He met the angel, saw the angel, and then woke up. Now, my situation was not like that. But I have been in the room, and I have. He said there were other angels in the room, and I said, well, I've been in the white room, but there was only one there for me. And I've never asked for names. Sometimes They will tell me their names, but I don't. I gave up. Somebody said, "Well, what's their names?" And I've heard people say, now, not that I don't trust this gentleman because he was very adamant about it, what he was talking about, because he said he had talked to someone that he had just met, and they had been in the same room, but slightly different circumstances, and that the angel had told him, and he was like 80 something years old, talking, his other, how he had spoken to another man about this. And so we all agree there at some point, wherever that other side is, there is a white room that has walls, but they're not walls. And I have talked about this with other people, but the fact that we all agree that there are walls that aren't walls is one of the things. Is it's not really creepy to me, but it's like, ooh, there's something tangible that we can. Well, I saw an angel, okay, but I was in a room with walls that weren't walls. For me, that's like it bumps up the reality check that it wasn't just an angel, but it was in a room without walls. I mean, with walls that weren't. And that there was a mist around their faces, so you didn't really see them, but you could see their bodies very clearly. Now, how the angels appear to the people in this white room varies some. Like, they're in white coats or dress, or, that varies slightly. By Jamie, how are you? Good to see you. And so it's like, I was not in a coma for 45 days. The other gentleman he was talking about had been in a coma for like 10 days or something. I have been out, the last heart attack, and one of the things that is interesting, most of I've had back surgery, and I had to have a second surgery. And I mentioned back then after it, I said, this second surgery, there was something spiritual about this one. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Well, for every time they put you under the knife, they put you really close to being dead. They drop your heart rate and everything comes down, and they really close. And so the other day I had two in one day. So I've been really close to death just by the procedures because of being put into that situation. And so it's like it's a really strange feeling too, going in and coming out. You go in, it's like, boom, you're gone. And then coming out, it's foggy, and but the second operation, 6 months ago, almost to the day in a way, was the second operation. And I said, there was something spiritual about this one. I don't know why I had to have it, blah, blah, blah. Well, during that time, I remember being in a white room. And because I was thinking back this afternoon, I was like, at what time was I in that white room that I could describe it the same way he saw it and felt it and knew it? And I think it was the second surgery that for whatever reason, they had me so close to being dead. And I wasn't worried about dying because, I had done a live stream from the hospital and talked about it. And I think I did. But anyway, so it's not a scary place, So being whatever close to death or whatever that other dimension is, because we agree we were all there. And we could feel it, we could see it, we could smell it, we could taste it, we knew we were there. And we could explain it, I mean, not that other people would believe us, right? So the fact that we had this conversation just before I don't want to use the word checked out, left the hospital today, was interesting. He walked up to my room to have a conversation. So, and I was able to ask him. I was trying not to be intrusive, but he was popped right in there and was willing. But the interesting thing at first was he said, there's only a few people who believe me. And I said, I already believe you. And he looked at me and I said, tell your story. So as he told his story, and I was like, white room, yeah. Walls, yeah, but the walls weren't walls. Yeah. It was just amazing little conversation we had. So, but where am I going with this? Well, having been in a close call this time, you know, in the white room, dressed like colors, the old Eric Clapton when they were, who was the band they were with? That Eric Clapton was with? Cream. Thank you very much. Hey, Scotty, I just hate hospitals. Right out the heart chakra. Sent healing the strength from the Creator, my brother. I know you all have. And it's because they did not refill my prescription for the metroprenol. But now, on the other hand, the true reality is something has happened to my heart, and instead of being 40% ish, I'm now 50% ish. So Uncle Dave's going to have to, do some more strict modification. I've been, doing 10 cigarettes a day. Well, I'm going to have to be more strict. I got a cigarette I lit over here an hour ago and it's still sitting in the ashtray. I've picked it up twice. And it's like, yeah, but you just come out of the freaking hospital, dude. You want to light up a cigarette? Well, yeah, I do, really. I've been nervous and tense and all, and I really want to smoke. But you just come out of the hospital with a, look at your arm, idiot. Look at, I don't think it's coming through. It's right there. See that hole? They go into your, they go into your artery and into your heart from there. But they shaved my groin anyway. I told the nurse, I said, you better get a weed whacker. She was like, what? You're gonna shave down there, honey. You better get a weed whacker. She just laughed. Anyway, but I wanted to come on here and tell you all how much I love you, and I know you have sent prayers and that you're still sending me prayers, and I absolutely appreciate it. But my medicine now is gonna, I was doing really good till I ran out of the medicine. I really was. And so I just need to get home and get these meds back in me in Dave's time, because one of the things that really surprised me about the AFib thing, as fast as it was going, I'm sitting here going, calm down, calm down, calm down. And it did not do one iota of good. You hear me? Now, I've been practicing, and I told two of the doctors in the ER the other day, I said, I've been practicing meditation and breathing exercises, and I've been able to literally calm my heart and whip through my breathing and everything. And I said, everything I tried to calm my heart did zero bit of good. So there are times when mind over matter just don't freaking work. What did you say, Hawkeye? Sometimes mind over matter does not work. As hard as I was trying the other day to be calm and deep, because I kept saying, calm down, Mr. No, take a deep breath. I said, I am, you know, and 185 beats per minute, calm down, Mr. No, 186 beats per minute. It did zero good. In circumstances with the body and the system, sometimes they have a mind of their own. I know, thank you, Chloe. But so, I preach mind over matter, right? You can do anything. You can control your body. You can, sometimes you can't. And the other morning, sitting in this chair, I was like, oh, fudge. Oh, fudge. When Rob came over and I was on my monitor and we were, how fast is it going? What should I take it to the hospital? And he's like, breathe easy. And I'm sitting here doing my god dog best. Nope. So from a shaman's point, I have not learned. There must be something extra in there. But because the type of thing that happened with my heart, it's electrical. And I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm on a heart monitor right now. It's right under my t-shirt right there, and it's an event monitor. So if I have a chest pain or something, I get this little phone over there and hit a button, and then it puts them. My heart's being monitored, so it's going up and down and blah blah blah. And if something happens, it'll spike if something has happened. But if I feel a chest pain, I can send a message out to wherever it's being monitored. It's a cell phone kind of deal. I had this last year. Hey, Michelle. And it sends, so when I push the button, it lets them know that at this event point, I felt something. And then the doctor can go back in and go and say, well, there might not have been a spike, or there could have been a couple of spikes. But if I don't push the button and say and tell them what it might have been, so that they can go back and look at the monitor and go, oh, he pushed the button at this point. Is there anything in there we need to look at from an electrical standpoint for my heart? So everybody I talked to, there are a couple of really nice doctors in the ER the other day, and speaking about the heart and things. And it's like, it's amazing what they can do with the drugs that they have, like the metropinol, to keep my heart and other people, not just me, but other people's hearts. It's a good thing, It's like, it ain't just me. The guy I talked to about the White Room and other people I spoke to. One guy had 3 heart attacks, and stents. I haven't been there yet. This this is close enough. Hey, David, you back? I look good, good for being through what I've been through the last 3 days. I'm glad to be looking like anything. I could look like hell and I'd feel great. you know, um, and there was this lovely black woman. I mean, oh man, and I mean like 6'1", a tall, nice looking black woman. And I told her so. It's like, if I was are you married? No. Ooh, if I was a younger man, I'd be taking you to dinner. But we had a really good 2 day. She took care of me for 2 days, and just absolutely delightful, beautiful smile. And so every time she walked in the room, for me at least, it just brightened up the room. And so through the trauma, there were these beautiful people that helped, that helped. And I told her, I said, I thank you so much for taking care of me these last couple of days. And she turned and looked at me and she goes, no, thank you, Mr. Noel. And I was like, what did I do? She said, for allowing me to take care of you. And I was like, man. So in this world of crumb bums, in this world of shitty people, here's this beautiful tall black woman that an old white geezer like me couldn't be laughing and joking and all this stuff about racism. That everybody hates the other race and everybody hates each other. Oh, bullshit. We got to stop this mess. And most of the people I talk to, that we'd have a little conversation. You know me, I'm going to talk, right? In that, so how do you feel about things? And I mentioned, I said, I don't know if I'd want to be born now. You know, I was born in 52, and we went through this and this, you know, and we had a lot of stuff happen during the 60s and all, you know, with assassinations and blah, blah, blah. But now I don't know if I'd want to be born now or even be younger. I'm glad I'm 71, you know. Okay, next month. But I'm glad I'm almost 71 because I don't know if I'd want to be 50 now, you know, just the way things are going. God bless y'all that are younger than me. You know, I hope you know, live long and prosper. But I don't know if I'd want to be 45 years old now, just because of the way, you know, things are going on. So I'm proud to be almost 71 in that respect. And I hope all of y'all can make it through whatever's ahead of you. Because if you make it to 70, and if you're 40 or 50, 50, 67, that's 20 more years. I'd be 91, you know. So I'd be happy to live to 91. Don't get me wrong. But what the hell's going to happen in the next 20 years? So, but anyway, and a lot of folks are like, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. But everybody that I spoke with, the nurses and some of the techs and folks, you know, we all agreed that we're going to face it, and we're going to do the best we can, and we're going to, you know, I could see small town in a small town. Um, who was it that sang that song back in the day? Anyway, it wasn't the song wasn't small town. Just like me. Anyway, okay, Michelle, you're the one. Hey, Aaron's Energy, how are you? Angels watching. All night, all day, angels watching over me, my Lord. All night, all day, angels watching over me. Sorry about that. A little bit of musical interlude there, acapella. But, you know, I wasn't scared of, I was scared of dying on the floor the other morning. That's a for sure. When I was laying there going, oh, fuck. Now what do I do? You know, with bruises and all, you know, oh, fuck. Now what do I do? Holy mackerel. And I can tell you that it was mind over matter in that respect, in that I crawled back in here. And for whatever my mind said, text Rob. Because I've had chest pains before, but I've never thrown up. I never had the sweats, and I've never had these other things. Well, the throwing up and the sweats and everything was the heart attack coming on. Ooh, now I know better, right? So if you get the sweats and throw up and you got a hard chest feeling, call the doctor, call 911. But the lessons in this are still to be seen, of course. But so I can tell you that mind over matter worked, me crawling back in here and dialing the phone and doing that. And, you know, but as far as being able to control my heart rate, that's off the table. That's for me, that's going to take some serious thinking. Like, how come I could not get to that point where I could slow my heart rate down? You know, and as a shaman in training, those are some of the things that, you know, we try to practice. I told the doctor the other day, oh, we had a really interesting conversation too, with one of the doctors downstairs, younger doctor, about astral projection. And I told him my story, and he was like, wow, that's really interesting. He didn't poo poo it or anything. He was like, well, what happened next? And blah, blah, blah. And what was it like? So here I am as an old man talking to doctors and folks in hospitals about astral projection. You never know what you can touch base with people that you meet. Like the guy that walked in my room this afternoon and talked about angels and being in the white room. In the white room. I keep thinking of that song by Cream back in the 60s, for crying out loud, with Eric Clapton. Um, I can't remember who else was in the band. I think there was only 3 members in the band. But anyway, so I knew that I was protected, and I knew that the people who were there, the technicians and the doctors, that they were there to help and protect me. And I knew that the angels were behind that, because how do I express this? Yeah, there were angels watching over me, but they were watching over them to make sure they did it right. Yeah, we never stop learning. David, sorry to hear you were in the hospital. Yeah. Thank you so much, Aaron. I'm good. I'm good. I got the right medicines back in me. And I continue to thank you all for your prayers. I do. And I'm trying to relate this story. If you know anybody with heart problems, here are some things. Here's my here's my continuing story about this, right? And it's not about me, because, like I said the other night, I said, I realized when I woke up the other night down in Thomasville, that I wasn't praying for myself. I was praying for other people. I was praying for people that I met. There was one of the ladies in the hospital that was, I can't remember what her job was, but anyway, nice black lady. And she was in the room this afternoon, and I looked down and I saw the brace on her foot yesterday, but I was a little apprehensive about asking about it. And so I saw her with a little brace on her ankle, and I sent a little prayer. Whatever's wrong, I hope she does okay. So today I asked her, and I said, "Ma'am, I don't mean to be, I said, how's your foot doing? What's wrong?" She goes, "I've got bone spurs, and I have to wear this thing." And I went, "Oh my goodness, that's horrible." And bone spurs are bad. And I was like, because my young one of my younger sisters has bone spurs, and she can barely walk. And so I told her, I said, "I'll send prayers for you." And she turned around and went, "Well, thank you." You know. So in all of this, I wasn't. I don't remember asking God to help me this time around at all. I just knew that there were folks that God was already behind it, that the Creator was already watching over me. Like I said, the angels were watching over me. So I don't consider myself special in any way. I swear to God, I don't. But I know that they don't want me gone yet. I don't want me gone yet either. I still want to go fishing in my bass boat, you know. And I just got a lawnmower. So now I can mow my own property, for crying out loud. Yay, team. No, I don't want to be out here yet. Hell no. Me and Barry is supposed to get together and have a good time. Hell no. I don't want to get out of here. Well, thank you, Aaron. Yes, Chloe, each one of us is special in our own way. And I told the doctor when I was in the ER the other day, I said, we were talking about astral projection and things. And I told him I'd had some near death experiences and so forth. And, and I felt like angels were watching over me. And I'd mentioned not necessarily angels. I said, I just know that the creator in the universe has told me it ain't my time to go yet for whatever reason. And he said, "Yeah," he said, "I had an experience, blah, 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 back a little ways." And he said, "I know that even though I'm a doctor, but I realized that, you know, I should take my job seriously, like other doctors didn't or something." So it was an interesting conversation. So I've had with I was in Moultrie, then I was in this one, and all the nurses down there and over here. So I had an opportunity to have a lot of interaction with a lot of different people these last 2 days. So you know me, I'm going to say something silly or stupid or something, and I always got people to laugh no matter where I went. And everybody told me that laughter is the best medicine. So I kept making jokes. You know me. So, and even just laughing and giggling. And so I was 503. It was at the end of the wing on the 5th floor. And so the door was open to the room and I was talking to her, whatever it was. And the therapist lady from the swimming pool where I was going came in and stood in the door and go, "What are you doing in here? You're supposed to be in the pool." And because it was, you missed your appointment yesterday, which was the day they put me in. So she goes, "I could hear your voice all the way down the hall. I knew exactly who you were." And I was like, "What?" And then there was another nurse who came in about the same time. She goes, "I know you. You were here last year, weren't you? You have a YouTube channel, don't you?" And I was like, "Holy Jesus." You know, so I'm infamous like Jesse James in a lot of ways. But apparently, for me, I was like, wow, there are people who remember me from a year ago. There are people who can hear my voice and know who I am. Wow, that's in a way that's kind of creepy, but also in a way that's kind of special, you know. And so I can't take who I am or what I do, which is to communicate with people. I can't take that lightly, you know. I mean, yeah, I got a YouTube channel and y'all show up, but when I'm out in public and around other people, that somehow I'm influencing people. And apparently in a good way, because she remembered me from last year and was smiling. And, she wasn't like, "You have a YouTube channel." It wasn't that kind of thing. "Hey, Amber Dawn, dinner ready. Now gotta go." Okay, thank you, Teresa. I love you. And y'all be safe, okay? You make an impact on everyone you meet. Apparently I do. And that's one of the things I do it on purpose, but it's interesting. I want to make an impact with people that I meet. That is true. But I don't know why. I want to make them smile. I want to be happy and whatever. But it's like, to what end? Do I have a particular do I have a particular motive? You know, am I trying to achieve a particular purpose? You know, hee haw live chat banjo. I love it. Um, you still with Scotty Boy? Everyone. I've been listening. It's okay, Amber Dawn. Thank you all for showing up. Really, I haven't been home, but maybe 2 hours now, and I've been on here for almost an hour. So I got on right after I sat down and because, well, I knew y'all were worried, and I could have let Barry know and Teresa, but then it'd been chit chats back and forth, and I thought I would much rather see you all, in the chat room. Those of you could show up and have conversation, but for everything, it's been enlightening, and I don't know what my motive is, and I don't know if I really have a motive or like an ulterior motive, you know. I just want to communicate with people. And if that has an impact on other people, well, then, okay, you know, I guess my heartfelt intention, heartfelt, don't knock that thingy off, um, is that I want it to be positive. Whatever impact I have, I hope that it's positive, you know. Whatever conversation we might have, I hope it's positive, you know. Oh, there's been something running in the background on this damn computer. That might be the reason why it's been jumping around. It. I just got home and turned it on, and it was acting funky. And there's been a virus program running in the background. Okay, maybe the picture won't jump around anymore. But anyway, so I realized this trip, you know, Hawkeye, why is it important for you to have an impact on other people? Hell, I don't know. But I guess in a lot of ways, when speaking with this one gentleman, I said, the angel said, you will have a ministry. And I was like, WTF? You're going to have a ministry. What the hell does that mean? You know, well, I get it because Mother Mary told me when I was 12 years old, you know, that I was going to have to speak about things. I was going to have to speak about the Bible. I was going to have to speak about love and intention and things and stuff. And that's what I was called upon to do. So, but then this last trip around, it's like you have a ministry. Well, what do you mean by ministry? Well, because you have to meet people and interact with people and leave a positive energy with them. And that is your ministry. It's not that there's a church or that there's any kind of prayer. Well, prayers are involved, but not in the holy Jesus Christ, sit down and kneel down and do all that. No. But it is a ministry of being positive with people. And it is a ministry of projecting a positive energy, a positive force. Not that it's me, but that one young lady remembered me from last year from the heart attack. Oh, and there was some people down in Thomasville that remembered me too. That was interesting as well. Oh, that's David. No, how you doing, Dave? You know, well, I'm fixing to go in for another thing, you know. But so it continues to teach me that whatever impact it is that I'm supposed to do, whatever my ministry is, that I'm still here by the grace of God, by the Creator. And as you know, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge and the healing and the blessings from the universe. Hey, Mark, how are you? Yep, I'm home. I'm not overweight. He. I have what? Cirrhosis of the liver. Well, that doesn't sound fun at all. The interesting thing about one of the interesting things about all of this was what I was learning about the mechanics of the heart. And what you just said there, Scotty boy, kind of triggered that the fact that there are enzymes that are triggered by the heart muscle itself that can be picked up in the blood. And that's how they knew I had had a really close call, were because of the enzymes that had been produced by the heart muscle itself into the bloodstream. Like, wow. So they've had some really interesting new innovations. And I could see the differences, like the Thomasville Hospital had this and the Moultrie Hospital had that. Well, I would much rather be put under the gun with the heart cath with the people in Moultrie. I walked in there and they had some music going on, and I was like, "Hey, man, let's go juking, man." They had some juking music going on, and I laid on the table and got ready, and they prepped me up and everything, and I was like, "Man, this group here." Well, they had some music on down in Thomasville. Not the same. They were not juking. And I told them, I said, "Hey, I just come from Moultrie. They had some juking music going on." And they were like, we don't like juking music. But they didn't even ask what kind I meant, you know. It was just something that was upbeat in tempo. And these guys were like, "Roo, roo, 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 roo." I was like, "Hmm." But anyway, it was a strange combination within the same day, you know. You have this one, you go to there, you have another one, you know. And being put deep under like that 2 times in a row in the same day. I'm still trying to get over that. But anyway, but angels watching over me. And apparently, like Rodney, who I spoke with this afternoon in my room before I left about the white room, angels are watching over him. And the gentleman that he spoke to when he was up in Albany a buying something, and they had the same conversation, and their angels watching over him. And so it's like it ain't just me. Not that I feel special in that way, but it is that there are a lot of angels watching over a lot of us, you know? And I find that really special. And, there's always, well, watching over me. And I hope that angels are watching over you. And those of you who are like, yes, I know, I've seen them, I understand. Okay, so the angel thing. But, it's like just people that you meet on the street, basically Rodney to this afternoon. And I'd met him the other day in the hallway and we spoke. Um, and I'm a year older than he is. Really close to almost a year. And so we're talking about angels and the fact that he has spoke to other people about angels. And, we have spoke about angels and other people that we know who have seen or heard or spoke to angels. And that, hey, Mossy man, how you doing? But babe, thank you always, Mossy man. Wire Paladin, San Francisco. Sup, Dave? Hope all is well, my brother. It is. I am much better. Thank you much. Thank you so much to all of you. So I know there are people who just don't believe in angels. They don't believe in other dimensions. They don't believe in a higher spirit. Well, and I always speak more about the creator because I am more along I am the shaman still in training, or I'm still in training shaman or something. Bobcat, elevated, what? Elevated tryptophan levels are also being seen in people, particularly young males with cardiac symptoms. That experiment. I did not take the C19 at all. I haven't taken any of that. Mine was caused by lack of metroprenol, which is to control the AFib in my heart. That was what caused this. Body comes as an old friend, him well. His ever loving arms, and we all have been. Thank you, by Jamie. Absolutely. So anyway, but having conversations with y'all, crawling crawling out of the bathroom the other morning in the condition I was in after blacking out and hitting the floor. For those of you who've just joined me, I've got bruises, a skin up knee. I've got a bruise up here on my head where I hit the floor, and I totally blacked out. Oh, yes, I did. Whatever it is you said I didn't. But the mind over matter was crawling back in here out of the bathroom. I was summoning some kind of power. Just within, it was like, come on, Dave, we got to get up. We've got to get off this floor. How in the fudge did I get down here to begin with? But I've got to get off this floor. So in this never give up, I could have laid on the floor in there and just said, I can't do this. It was a moment where I realized I had to be, I had to really get it together. I had to move when I really didn't want to. This elephant sitting on my chest, it was all I could do to breathe. And I crawled back in here. But I still, with all my shaman powers of whatever, I could not slow my heart rate down. It was out of control and beyond my shamanic powers. I hate to use that term, but of all my years of training, which is supposed to be my shamanic powers, I could not control my heartbeat. And I have been able to do that over the years. So this is really new to me. and the feeling and the whole nine yards. But li- the heart having lost control at 185 beats per minute, having lost control and not being able to control your own stuff. Wait a minute, I can do this. No, 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 you can't. Well, yeah, I'm going to breathe and it ain't working. Well, let's try this a little more. Sorry, dude, this ain't working. You got to go to the hospital. So there's an old story. I think I told it partially the other night, in that there was an old Indian chief, and they were telling him, you need to go to a doctor. You need to go to the hospital. And he was, no, I'm a shaman, I'm an elder, and I know how to. And finally, they took him to the hospital, and he had a serious condition, whatever it was, and he had to have an operation. And when he woke up afterwards, he was on the fourth or fifth floor of the hospital. I can't remember, but he was up a few floors. I think I said he was on the fifth floor the other night. I'm not sure, but anyway, he was at least on the fourth. Not trying to lie about it, but memory was like, was it the fourth? Anyway, so, but as soon as he woke up and he sat up in the bed and he realized that, the operation or whatever procedure that he had saved his life, where had he stayed home in the teepee, he might be dead. And so the first thing he wanted to do was thank the Creator. And so he took his slippers off and got down on the floor and started dancing. Hey, why, hey, why, hey, and danced. And the nurses all came in and said, you got to get back into bed. And he said, no. He said, I have to dance. It's part of the medicine. And I think I told you all the last. I'm confused about nights. Okay, so in one of my recent conversations with y'all, I mentioned this. I got to get my drum out, which is right behind me. I got to dance. I got to build a fire and do a dance. I have got to thank Creator. I have got to make. It's not necessary. It's not a sacrifice, but I have put it off because my back is hurt, and it's been hard to walk, and dancing, trying to dance is even harder. But I got to put forth the effort. I haven't made the effort. I have been walking and doing exercises to get to the point where I could dance again. It's not so smart meters are working extra. It's causing grief. I missed that. But anyway, so he got up and danced. And the nurse said, well, why are you dancing? And he goes, on the fourth floor of the hospital. And he said, because the hospital's made out of elements from the earth. And I'm dancing because I know that Mother Earth can tell. I'm dancing because everything is related. And I have to dance in gratitude to the Creator that the procedure and everything, and that I'm still alive. And that's how I feel now. And I did a little jig upstairs, um, but not like I should have. And I feel guilty that I haven't danced. You're a tough old boy. Yes, I'm a tough old cuss. Yeah. May you live long and prosper. I'm going to do my best. And, I'd still like to get together with some of y'all. I'm hoping, they fixed my truck last week. And I'm still hoping, to be able to get up to see Barry and anybody else I can. And so, it ain't over yet. And then maybe some of you can come, if you're ever in this area, let's go boating or have a fire and do a drum. I'm considering now, since I have my new phone, I can now go out in the yard or out in the woods if I want to now. We'll see. And be able to do a live stream while I'm doing a drum. Hey Pamela, how you doing? Oh, and many blessings back to you. So, with the angel thing, there are people out there who just don't believe in such things. And Rodney today is not a religious person. He's not one that, oh, holy Jesus, Jesus was never mentioned or anything related to a church, but he was very related to Gabriel, the angel. How about that one? So you don't have to be a Bible thumper to see or understand about angels. Hey, Brandy, how are you? I'm glad I'm here too. I do. I feel so blessed with y'all. And I'm always grateful to the Creator. I really am. Where am I located? South Georgia. Meigs, Georgia. You can look it up on a map. I'm not too far from the Florida line, north of Tallahassee. And I live down here in the woods. There's a video I did a couple of days ago about a driveway walk or something that shows you from the top of the driveway down to my house. But anyway, that gives you a little idea where I live. And I've before Isby passed away, he had come and visited me twice from Florida, and it was great to sit with him and smoke a little with him and converse. And we did a little drum, and it was great, to have had physical contact with Isby before he passed away. And most of you know that I knew Brian Barnett on his channel Milky Way. And but I never had the chance to meet him. We were supposed to meet up, and he had a heart attack at a much younger age than me, like 30 years difference, about 25 years. I think Brian was in his 40s. So, and I'm 71 almost. So, but with that though, and Barry and I are going to get together one way or the other. We're going to get together. But I've got kayaks and canoes, and now I bought a little bass boat thingy here, and I'm ready to go. And I would love for somebody to come with me, and we can go down on the river. There's some lakes and ponds and things around, I want to get out on the water. If you like fishing, we go fishing. But anyway, oh no, I accidentally timed Jamie out. How you doing, Brandy? And who else? And Pamela, you all doing all right? Amber Dawn, you too. I know that when I do midnight type, middle of the night type videos, that you all aren't there, but it's good to see you all. I want to try to do earlier videos and different topics and things. And now that my cell phone works and seems to be working, so that I can walk around the yard, I want to show different things. There's, some maybe preparedness things, when it gets cold, I can show you all how to, split wood properly, with one hand, and how the body and how you can understand. And anyway, split wood with one hand with an axe. Yeah. I'll show you a thing or two, but haven't been able to do that. So maybe with a cell phone, I can set some things up. But there are some other things that I would like to do, with the channel, just in here are some simple ways to do things, and or I've seen people try to hack wood together with an axe like this, and let me show you a trick or two, that I've been using for 45, 50 years or more. Actually, 55 years. God, I'm getting old. Things I learned on the carnival that I can pass on. And I'd like to show you a couple of things about my truck. And because there are people who have Ford Rangers and Mazdas, and they all have the same kind of issues. And so, and I would like to show like how I got through mine. But anyway, so, but spiritually speaking too, each one of these episodes with hospitals always, it's not that I go up a notch, but I can see the next notch to go up to, maybe, in a spiritual sort of way, in my shaman training. It's like, so what do you need to learn next? Oh, maybe I need to learn how to do this. Well, like I've been saying for the last 10 years, I have not learned how to walk through walls yet. You know, that's supposed to be one of them really high focus point things that, you know, shamans learn how to do, right? Or spiritual, whatever, you know, like, but no. But, you know, more conversations about astral projection because apparently there are a lot of people who would like to hear about it, but they don't want to say anything. Like the doctor in the ER the other day. I mean, I talked about it for about 30 minutes, you know, before he had to go and check on another patient. They had reached a little lull in there, you know, because I was in the ER until almost 11 o'clock the other night. From 10, almost, I was almost 13 hours in the ER because they did not have a room. So, but anyway, so the doctors were coming in, having a conversation, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but I was grateful to be able to have these conversations because they were also teaching me about the enzymes in the heart and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And so it was a nice back and forth, you know, lesson exchange, if you will, information. But a nice doctor, Dr. Klar, Klar, really nice gentleman, really nice gentleman. And seemed to know what he was doing too. But apparently, secretly, there are folks who would like to hear about astral projection and about these other things. And I need to have another session, and because there are folks that seem to be having issues with meditation, but how to meditate with a tree, the types of things to maybe feel or understand, or how you can communicate with the tree. And there are some folks, well, I could do it. Yeah, but have you actually ever felt being a leaf on a tree? Have you ever felt yourself being, when you share your life force with a tree, honestly, and you can feel yourself being part of the sap in the tree? So, wow, where'd that come from? I had to have a breathing treatment before I left the hospital. I, sure enough, put the mask on, breathing treatment. Um, I wasn't polished or nothing. Thinking of someone connects you, absolutely. And although I've never met at this time any of you, because Isby was the last person that I knew that I'd actually met, um, but I feel like I've met every single one of you, you know. And in this astral higher level plane of thinking, we are all members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. And that energy, that I've always considered it like a radio station. There's a signal out there that is where we all sit, how we communicate. We've all reached that level of the League of Like-Minded Beings, which is a particular frequency, a radio station. Really hate that happened to you. Yeah, it's over with. Trees love us. Well, not everybody. Some people have a really crappy aura, and trees don't want to have anything to do with them, by the way. But I just look at my plants, flowers, trees, and say in my mind, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, but Brandy, you got to say it out loud. You have to always say it out loud because the vibrations of your voice, you know, you can think it all day long, and that's not bad. That's a good thing, right? But you have to verbalize it. You absolutely have to speak it to them. I've got plants in here. Over there in the kitchen, there's this aloe plant that has gone nuts. And there's it's a huge piece of aloe. I mean, it's like this big, right? Takes two hands. It almost looks like a group of bananas. It's so big. And it wasn't even in the dirt. It should have been dead, you know. So the only thing, when Rhonda was here last week, she was like, how is this plant living? And I said, I don't know. and she took a piece of it home also. And it's this huge aloe is just going nuts over there in the window. And it's like, how is this plant growing? I mean, I do water them, but it wasn't even in the ground. How is it still growing? How is it alive? And the only thing I can tell, I told her, I said, I think it's just the house. I think it just likes it over there and it's living. Now there's another aloe I'm looking at that's fallen over. I have to check on that one. But these ones over here in the window, oh my God, they're going crazy. And so I think it's, there are, I've got crystals all over the house and things and places, but the energy of the house, it's got to be that, because what else would keep this huge thing alive? I watered the thing, but I've noticed it's now potted, but that's not the point. It was living fine, hanging out of the pot and barely, it was in the windowsill. And I felt bad and said, God Almighty, I got to put this in a pot. And, but so some of these plants in the house, I have no idea why they're still alive. Why? Because I don't use any fertilizer. I only water them. Well, what do you mean? Well, they keep growing. The vines in the house. There's one over there by the TV that comes through the bookcase over there, and it's grown so much it's almost touching the ground in here. And it was this far off the ground, and now it's like this far from the ground. And that's just been in a couple of weeks. And I water them, but the vines all when you walk in the house there, you have to walk under the vines. So I'll have to do a walkthrough with the cell phone and show you what it's like to walk in. Um, who else? Did somebody else come in? Brian planted that seed and brought us all together. Yep. He and I talked about it way early on because he was like my third or fourth or fifth, or he was really one of my first subscribers to the channel. And we talked about it many times. And, we talked about the purpose of why we wanted to start the channels and what we wanted to discuss. And after we did our live streams together back in the day, we would just, we'd still be, in the chat room thinking, and we'd have conversations sometimes an hour after we logged off, on being on live. And we had many conversations on the phone as well. And, but Brian, he had, I just get on here and I'm an old geezer talking, but he used to do videos and things with music and stuff, and he drew in a lot of interest. And that's a good thing. And I'm glad that we met. I'm glad that he was one of my first subscribers, you know, and somehow along the line, I started my thing, but it prompted him to start his thing. And I'm not trying to take any kind of um, credit, but it was because we had talked about it together and we had a dream. We wanted to be able to communicate with people. We wanted to be able to talk about things other people were afraid to talk about, but we didn't want to speak about it in a way that, I try not to cuss. And he did his best. We wanted to keep it in kind of sort of family. We wanted to make sure that anybody could come as long as they were respectful. And, we don't get rid of people. We can have a difference of opinion. That's fine. But we don't have to be rude about it. And so that was one of our first goals. I mean, we had set up very simple rules. You know, how do you want your channel? Well, this is how my channel is. This is what I think. And he took it to another level, and I'm very proud that I knew him in the way that I did. And when I was in the hospital the other day, I could feel his presence around me because he died of a heart attack. And so there have been several times because I'm having heart issues. Who is that that just said hi to me? It scrolled on by too quick. I subbed you the first time I saw you on Brian's. Yeah, but a lot of people don't know some of the conversations that we had, and but there were many things that he and I discussed that ended up being some of his topics. And ooh, Brian, this and that. I'm not trying to knock him down, not a bit. But yeah, we had many conversations. And I think this is what it is like some of the things that were discussed, we had discussed, and he had asked me about, and he learned, and he said, I'm glad that I met you, Dave. And so to bring it, um, that somehow he had achieved some of this stuff on his own. And some of these things we achieved together. Okay. And I'm not trying to take credit. I'm just trying to explain that he and I discovered things together way back at the beginning. Okay. I just want to add that in. It's been a minute, and you are truly a beautiful man. Thank you, Roots. Oh, I'm very down to earth. Watch my video of the driveway. I live way down off the road, and the swamp is right behind me. And the river is not much further back. Thank you, Roots, honestly. But yeah, I think about Brian very often. And that's a nice name. Yeah. We are family, absolutely. And that's one of the things that Brian and I both have spoke about, that, we wanted to be that family, the soul tribe. We wanted the people that we met, the people that we drew in. He interviewed a lot of people, and I didn't have the capacity to do that. I still don't. Well, I might have the capacity now to, because I would like to have other people on the show. Like he and I used to be on his show, but I couldn't do it. So I would really like to be able to invite people on and have chats. And that's sort of one of the next levels that I would like to go, is to have people come on and really if any of you want to come on, let's have a conversation, whatever it might be. So, but anyway, I love Brian. I do. I still do. And like I said the other day, when my heart was doing this thing, I could just feel his presence around me. And it's like, it was sort of like, it's still not your time, you know? And him having had a heart attack, and I think it was his mother that found him. I'm not sure if Miss Brenda was the one, but anyway, they found him, after having had his heart attack. And, Rob found me after having mine. But I had made it out off of the floor, not very far. But I was very lucky, and I'm very grateful. I truly am. I'm not sure what's in store for the future, but I want us all to go there together. And I want us to, be a family. And I want us to, remember, every single one of you, regardless of whether you believe it, we are members of the League of Like Minded Beings. There is a radio station, a frequency in the universe that each one of us, I think most of you can feel it, that there's this feeling that we all can generate. And it was like, I can feel Roots, and I can feel Chloe's energy, and I can feel by Jamie's energy, and I can feel Barry's energy. And sometimes I can hear him talking in my head. Sometimes I can hear Michelle, and sometimes, and it goes with that's that frequency. That's the league. That's us being in the league of like-minded beings. That's how we communicate. That's it's not astral, but it kind of sort of is. But it's a frequency in the universe, and there are other people in there. I witnessed your relationship with Brian. I was most nurturing. I'm grateful for you. Thank you, Roots. And I'm grateful for Brian. I mean, we had some really in-depth conversations, because both of us, we talked about our LSD experiences, and because he had followed the Grateful Dead around, and we had similar, very similar trip experiences, and we had communicated on that astral frequency. God, I hate to use that word, but that league frequency. And but we related as man, but when I had, when I did this acid one time, it did you and blah blah blah. We we bonded in a way from being a couple of acid heads, okay? And there's if if you haven't done acid like we did, I'm not saying that you don't understand, but you don't understand. I've done over 500 hits of acid, and that's not a lie. I used to eat acid every single day, and for weeks, months, I did acid. I've gotten into a bunch of blotter acid, and I would literally go to work on acid. So, and that was in the 80s. All right. That was like in 85, 84. I was doing this where people are like dosing out on acid now, and now acid is this, can help you. I was way, I was way ahead of the curve. I was just doing it. But our conversations relating to those acid experiences was a level that there are very, very, very few people that I have spoken with in my almost 71 years. Brian was one of the very few. There's like 5 people that I've been able to speak to that had the types of LSD experiences we had, and that's how we really bonded somehow. And I say, I've told other people, well, Brian, I'm not trying to cut him down. That's not it. But there were different levels of understanding, and Brian and I had that LSD bond. Is all I could tell you. And I would like to meet some other people who have done as much acid as we did. Oh my God. It's a good conversation. Orange Sunshine. Oh yeah. The first time I tripped was on a 4-way hit of Orange Sunshine. Absolutely. That was my first trip. I was gone for 2 days. I mean, I was gone for 2 days. Yep. 1970, November 1970, around Thanksgiving. It was electric Coke. Oh, yeah, I know exactly. But see, there were certain things that, like in the conversation, who was it just said that? Wire Paladin used to love Orange Sunshine, 4-way window pane, Purple Haze. Yeah, no more acid around these days like that. Nope. We had green barrows, and they look like little tiny green barrels. And so barrows, no, they're barrels. Like roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun. But anyway, especially made like Osley Stanky used to make. Oh, I don't know about that. But there are folks nowadays who say they're doing acid and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would trust it these days. I've seen some of these guys, these younger folks, that they have brought me mushrooms. And it's been a year or two. They brought me some mushrooms, and here, these are the mushrooms. And I said, don't you eat them things? That'll kill you. What? Those aren't psilocybin mushrooms. Well, how do you know? I used to pick them by the pound where I used to live. And I used to sell them and exchange them for weed. Don't tell me I don't know what a psilocybin mushroom looks like. I'm sorry. I'm an old man that's been around for a long time. You know, my friend, Roadman. Oh, what? I missed that. Hey, that way. How you doing? You had the similar experience to my friend, the Roadman. He was Canadian, and from what you are sharing now, he could relate 1970s. Yeah. And I was late 1960s, but it was 1970. Actually, it was the year I got out of high school that I was a roadie for a local band. Some friends of mine, and we played together and all. Anyway, there was a battle of the bands in Tampa, down at what was the old electrical building, what they called it, and the fairgrounds used to be close to downtown Tampa. So they had this battle of the bands, and we were the first band on. So you played your set, and then you had to get all your gear off, so the other band could set up while the second band was playing. Well, we were first. So But anyway, one of the girls that I had known from Tampa Catholic come up to me and, "Hi, David, how you doing?" I was sweating all over. We're carrying gear out and loading it into the trailer and everything. And she's like, "Oh, you look like you're thirsty." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Have some of my electric Coke." And I was like, "Oh, great." So I grabbed this thing. It's a big, tall boy, like about, it's a big 25 ounce. It's a big one. And Coca-Cola. I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So I was like, grabbed that thing and started chugging it. And she was like, "Oh, wow, man. Oh, wait. Oh," and I'm like, "I'll buy you another one." Chug, chug, chug. "No, whoa. Oh, wow, man." But, there was still about this much left in the Coke, but I had drank a sizable amount. She goes, "Oh, wow, man. That's electric Coke." And I said, "Yeah, that was really great." She goes, "No, man. That was a four-way hit of Orange Sunshine." And I'm clueless. I fresh out of high school, 17. Well, I had just turned 18 years old. Very new to this stuff. Tampa didn't have a lot of that. It was 1970. Okay, Tampa. What is electric Coke? Well, about 10 minutes later, I found out. I was the one that was, and I did, that was the only one that knew how to pull a trailer. So the guy had his car. I can't remember what kind. And so got in the car and we're driving home down up Nebraska Avenue up to North Tampa. And all of a sudden the headlights are going, "Neum, neum." I stop at a red light and I'm going, "Holy shit." And the guys in the back seat in the band, they're going, "Dave, are you all right, man?" And I'm going, "Yeah, I'm okay." None of them knew how to pull a trailer, and all the equipment's in the trailer. And I am blasted beyond reality on about half of a four-way hit of white sunshine or orange sunshine. Sorry. And so they put me in our bedroom. It was a one-bedroom house that we lived in and shared. And we had done blacklight art on the walls of all kinds of different things. And they put me in that room and turned on the black light. And I went, boom. I was off it because we had done some artwork that when you turned on the light were like planets in 3D, and we had black light posters and stuff like that. I remember that we had back in the day, across the street from Busch Gardens was what it was called Treasure Land, Treasure Island, or something like that. And anyway, they had signs all over Tampa, and we'd swiped a couple, and there was a pirate hanging over the thing with a gun. I talked to that frickin' pirate for hours, and he was like, "All right, matey, all right." And I was like, "Holy shit," and he'd raise his gun and pull his head up, and it was it was just a sign for Treasure Island, Treasure Land, or whatever it was. But it's not even there anymore. But so yeah, I had conversations with pirates, and I had conversations with the posters on the wall in the room. It was, in hindsight, it was really great. But at the time, since I didn't even know what tripping was, and nobody around me knew what tripping was, Pinellas Park. Wait, what? The Electric Zoo, I remember that club well. I lived in Pinellas Park back in those days. Tampa, Clearwater area. Greatest days of my life, other than well, I didn't make it to Woodstock, and we went to Clearwater to go to the beach, and I was too young at the time to go into some clubs that sold alcohol. And oh, come on, go back. That was beautiful back in those days. Yeah, back in those days, it was great. It really was. When hurricanes would come in off the coast, we'd go over and body surf there at Clearwater Beach. I'm right next to the pier, and the marina was just back over here. And now well, I haven't been down there in a while, but the last time I was down there, I couldn't recognize it. And the beach, there's I don't do this on the beach and blah blah blah. I remember when if you were around Pinellas Park, Do you ever remember up towards Denellen and Tarpon Springs, Honeymoon Island? We used to go out on Honeymoon Island when they first built the bridge out there, and we'd go way around the edge of the island and build big bonfires and just have a blast. Did you ever make it down that far, Wire? But anyway, when the last time I was down there, no, I say one of the last times. It's been a while. It's been 25 years or more, actually 30 years. But I wanted to go over to Tarpon Springs. I wanted to see what it looked like now, and went over to Honeymoon Island. They got all these condos and stuff, and oh my God. I remember the days when it was just an island, you know. But I grew up off of Powers, Doctor in Orlando. Um, yeah, so I've been with the carnival. I've traveled all over the state of Florida. Um, we played Winter Haven. We played Lakeland. We played Plant City. We played Ormond Beach, which is just literally a stone's throw from. I mean, you leave North Daytona, and you're in Ormond Beach. And there was a Catholic church there that we used to play every year. There were I can't remember the town that's south of Daytona. Anyway, we used to play that every year. There's several places along the East Coast with the carnival we played. There was one place that we played. It was near the Atlantic Pier or something like that. But back in those days, there were a lot of people, but it's nowhere near like it is now. And the buildup of stuff, it's just not the same. Somebody said, "Wouldn't you like to go back down to the East Coast?" Well, I might want to go back down to St. Augustine, only because it's like one of the oldest cities on the United States, and I would like to go back down there for that. But not really. Not really. I'll tell you, we went to Savannah one year for St. Patty's Day, and that was fun. It was cold, but we had a great time. Now there was another year I went to New Orleans on St. Patty's Day. Oh, that was really fun. Oh, them folks in New Orleans know how to juke. Now I know after Katrina and everything, I don't know if it's the same. It might be better. Who knows? But the old timers and stuff back then, before the city got wrecked, and being down on Bourbon Street. I mean, we rented a place that was 2 blocks off of Bourbon Street. We rented a spot right in the old French town. Me and my friend, we were like, we want to experience what the old New Orleans was. We drove around the rest of New Orleans. We went back. We went back to Old Town, but it was great. What'd you say? We tore the fence down when Black Sabbath played. They were sold out, thousands of there. They've never got past Tampa. The slab at a tent and bathed at a service station. As a carny, I did a lot of that. Yeah. Brandy says, I miss the boiled peanuts made in a big back kettle from the flea market in Kissimmee. See, I know how to pronounce that. It's not Kissimmee, it's Kissimmee. You have to have been from Florida. I miss the Butler what? The Butler chains too. 15 spring water fed lake connected by canals. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was down in Kissimmee when well, we played with the carnival over there, so we knew Kissimmee back in the day, early 70s. And Walt Disney World had just opened up over there, and we had went to Disney World and applied, And I went to Kissimmee to see if there was a place to live because if you worked there, you had to have a place. And Kissimmee was one of the few places that had anything to rent that was that was available. Well, that too, but also in the price range, that wasn't too bad. And they were old trailers like old Florida used to be. And up around Old Town now, there are still some trailer parks that are the original old Florida. In fact, I got a friend of mine. They've just bought a small place up around Old Town, and I can't wait to go down and stay with them because they're almost on the Swanee River, and I would love to go boating on the Swanee River. But anyway, but yeah, Kissimmee, and it was a quaint old, with old oak trees and Spanish moss hanging down. It was a true old Florida town, and it ain't nothing like that now. You know, I miss. Oh yeah, speaking of boiled peanuts, coming home from the hospital, there are peanut fields on either side. And Rob and I are talking. Look how the cotton is, and well, how what about the peanuts? Oh, the peanuts look great this year. Now we don't know how they're doing under the ground because most folks don't know this, but peanuts grow in the ground. But the top of the plants, the 15 miles from here to there, on both sides of the road, peanuts look real good. And I was in the local store the other day, and they've got their boilers ready, and it says hot boiled peanuts right on the side. And I talked to the guy and I said, "You don't happen to have any, do you?" And he goes, "No, we're waiting for the season." And so here in about a month, there's gonna be peanuts everywhere down around here. Y'all come down and we'll boil some. I got a big black pot and a kettle and everything. We can do it. Also, there are other folks that do it too. Can't wait. And um, Elderberry and I have talked about it. And I told him I wished I could send him some peanuts. From here because they're really cheap here. Because they're all over the place. You can just about beg somebody for a couple of pounds of peanuts. Um, or go help them in the field for a little bit or something. And sometimes there are stragglers in the edge of the fields after they get done combining. You can go in and collect enough peanuts to serve you. So, and having, known a bunch of farmers, and I've been here almost about 50 years down here. So, having worked on farms, and I worked at a peanut dry where they dried the peanuts, because after they pick them, they have to take them and put them in special dryers, and it blows warm air on them, not hot air, but well, right now they wouldn't have to because it's so hot outside, but it blows air through them to dry the nope. I live in South Georgia, but I'm like 50 miles from the border. Depending which way you go, it might only be 40 miles. I live in South Georgia, Southwest Georgia. I'm west of Valdosta and Interstate 75. 319 goes through Moultrie, and I'm not far from there. And 19 is just down the highway from me. Beaches these days are not. No, they're not wire. Absolutely. They have ruined Myrtle Beach now. Oh, really? We used to play Myrtle Beach, actually. Not even worth going. Yep. Now I'll tell you, down here, I haven't been to Panama City recently. And my granddaughter lives in Pensacola, and I really hope I can get well enough in the truck and everything to go see her. Because she has never learned to drive. Ooh. But anyway, that's not a curse, but it's kind of unbelievable to me. But anyway, that anybody in their 30s would, not have learned to drive somewhere along the line. I was begging to drive at 12, you know, working on the carnival. They taught us how to back up the semis, and I was ready to drive a vehicle somewhere. But yeah, you want boiled peanuts? We got them down here, honey. We got them. We got them by the gallon. We got them by the pint. I mean, they still do boiled peanuts down here in the little paper sacks, that leaks through and all. Yum 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 yum. Daytona used to be. Yeah. When we played Ormond Beach, which was this far, literally, it was Ormond Beach. You left Daytona, and Ormond Beach was on the same sign. You know, you're leaving Daytona, you're entering Ormond Beach. So we would go down to the beach and stuff there. And I remember back in the day, it was so neat and being out on the Atlantic Ocean and stuff, which is not the same as the Gulf of Mexico. It's different. It's cool, but it's different. But now, if you want to go to a beach, some of the places now, St. Simon's Island in Georgia, which is north of Jacksonville, and you have to go through the swamp to get there. And there are some fairly clean beaches there because, well, in Jacksonville Beach and places up there around Jacksonville, there are some interesting beaches up there. Some of them are near or on the naval base there, but there's some interesting beaches there. I was going to talk about Panama City and the beaches. Living here near the Panhandle of Florida, and they call it the Big Bend area. There are some beaches down towards Panama City and all that aren't too bad. Now it depends on when you go. Don't go during spring break time, you know. But other than that, and off of off of Pensacola, there's some really nice beaches out there. There's a state park that's nothing but a beach. There ain't a palm tree or nothing on it. They got a couple of pavilions if the last hurricanes didn't smoke them out. But Pensacola, there's some nice beaches down there still, if you're in the area. And that's one thing about the Panhandle and of Florida is there's not a large population. So, and people who come in, they don't come in droves except during spring break. So not like Daytona and along the East Coast over there, and Tampa and Clearwater too. There's so many people that they just overwhelm the beaches. But up around Panama City, there's not the same amount of population. Now people do visit there and so forth, but the beaches are never crowded like the other spots in Florida. Just to let y'all know, I'm ready for a lake. A lake? I'm lucky to be alive after all the gators and sharks I've swam with. Just saying. Yeah, I used to swim with alligators too, Brandon. Brandy, as a matter of fact. Safe here, unlike Pensacola crime and traffic in Pensacola. Really? Well, see, I don't know about that. Are you down in that area, Brandy? My aunt who wrote the book Here to Get My Baby Out of Jail, lived in Augusta, Georgia. They made a movie out of it called Summer Heat. I played a person in court. Yeah, good for you, Wire. Honest. North Augusta. Yeah, I've been over in the Augusta area, but it's been a few years. The the amount of people who've moved into the state of Florida and the state of Georgia is just unbelievable. Um, but down here in South Georgia, our population has maintained a steady basic, like Moultrie, Colquitt County is between 30 and 35,000 people. Thomas County, just below me, the same. Now, the reason is because there are a lot of large plantations. And so there's a lot of land area that nobody can get on because they're owned by large corporations. Pebble Hill Plantation was owned by a person, from the Gulf oil thingy, and several other plantations. There's one of the plantations where they uh, they actually filmed the staircase scene in Gone with the Wind, and then they previewed the movie Gone with the Wind in the same plantation in a special theater that's where they previewed it before it went out over the thing. That's in Thomas County, and several other plantations. I was going to say Billy Joel. That was wrong. Um, changes in attitudes, changes in latitude. What's his name? Nothing remains quite the same. All of their cunning and all of their running, we wouldn't crazy, we would all go insane. Okay, who? I can't think of his name. Oh my goodness. I remember those alligator shoes back in the day. They were $400 a pair. Think it's against the law to make them now. No, it's not actually. I don't remember those corpse not Billy Joel. What is this? He's a Florida. But anyway, he used to come to Thomasville all the time because he had bought a plantation. Um, I can't remember. Actually, gator hunting is legal now. Uh, there are so many gators in Florida and other places that you have to. I think you have to apply for a tag. It's like um, so when hunting season comes, you can put there. A lot of people apply for them, and then they have a lottery. And no, not Elton John. No, he was from Florida and sang beach songs and all that kind of stuff. Don't know the reason I stayed here all season. Nothing to show but this brand new tattoo. Yeah, alligator hide's still legal. Now, for a long time they didn't, but this is a true story back in the 62 era. Thank you, Jimmy Buffett. Absolutely, I can't remember. But he used to come into a local restaurant all the time with his daughter. And they somewhere I'm not sure if it was North Florida or South Georgia, but he had bought a plantation. But he used to come to Thomasville all the time. Thomasville, to some rich folks, it's an old town with old money. And in the old days, the railroad ended in Thomasville. It didn't go into Florida. And so there are pictures of um, folks in their carriages and everything. And there's a road that goes around Thomasville still. And in the old days, they used to get in their carriages and ride around on Sundays and all this. There are some old Victorian homes in Thomasville. It's a beautiful old town. It really is. They still got brick streets downtown on Broad Street. And I used to run the theater building there for several years in downtown Thomasville, and used to know a lot of folks, and I still know a few, but a lot of them passed away because I'm getting so old. But there's a lot of history in Thomasville, and it goes way back. I mean, old South. And so there are folks that know this area, and also Tallahassee. There are a lot of folks that love to go to Tallahassee. Tallahassee is a fun town, but you know, I almost got killed in Tallahassee years ago. So and just minding my own business with the window down, waiting on the traffic light, and somebody came and tried to carjack us and beat us up. Got me really good. Gave me almost a brain hemorrhage and put me in the hospital with a concussion. So but there are parts of Tallahassee. There's um, oh golly, a pizza place there on Monroe. Oh my God, that it's the best pizza you'll ever eat, and they're freaking huge. They're like this big around. Oh my God, you know. Oh, please come down here and let's go to the pizza place. I want to go. Um, just pizza, something. But anyway, it's a locally owned. It's not a chain or anything like that. And the people in Tallahassee, they like to go in and have a few beers. It's a calm place to eat. But oh my God, it's I'm I like pizza like a lot of other folks, but you can You can get stuff on there like dried, but you can get, fresh um, tomatoes and stuff. I mean, oh my God, it's delicious. And at a reasonable price too. Please take care of yourself. Well, I promise you all cause me to smile. I hope so, Roots. That's one of my reasons for being here is to get some grins. We even see gators. Gator will walk 3 miles for a chicken. Oh yeah, or a dog or a puppy. Down at Mayaca River State Park, which is south of Tampa, um, and St. Pete and all down, and it ain't nothing but gators. It ain't nothing but swamp and lakes. But it's a beautiful place if you like that type of setting. But as a kid, we used to go down there and camp, and there are gators everywhere. And so right near the boat dock are like 5 or 6 12-footers. I mean, I'm not talking like 5 or 6. I'm talking big gators, 12, 15-footers, right? And then you get anywhere near close to them, they start that little that rumble that they do. But anyway, big signs: keep your dogs on a leash and at a distance. So what does this lady do? She's got this little poodle dog, and she goes, "Oh, look, the dog's barking, wants to put it down, and the dog's jumping all over." No leash on this dog, jumping all over, and she lets it down. What does the dog do? Runs right over to the nose of the gator, and like is like this close to the nose of this gator. And all of a sudden, it was clump, and that dog was gone. And the lady starts screaming, and oh, get the park ranger. And the park ranger says, "Lady, can't you?" This sign was huge. It was like 3 by 3 at least. Dogs on leash. Gators will eat them. Lets the dog loose and then freaks out because, and I mean, right of all the things, ran right up to the gator. Chomp. The gator didn't even have to do any work. Chomp. It was crazy. I'm only an hour from the coast, but we have coyotes here. I keep my cat inside. And whereabouts are you, Brandy? Buffalo Springfield. Oh, yeah. I hated to hear that David Crosby died this year. Yeah. Almost cut my hair just the other day. Increased my paranoia. Like looking in the mirror and seeing a police car. Yep. David Crosby. Yep. But he was in his 80s. I mean, there are a lot of people now that are in their 80s. I'm like, what? We were talking the other day. Somebody had said something, and I said, I I subscribed to his channel, but oh, now I can't think of his name. Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney, Chim Chinchery. Good luck will rub off if you shake hands with me. Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney, Chim Chimcheroo. Good luck will rub off if they make hands with you. What's his name? But he's in his 90s and doing Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke's alive and doing well in his 90s, and he's got a YouTube channel. Also, by the way, Roseanne Barr is starting to do regular things on YouTube, and boy, is she nuts. But there are a lot of things I agree with her on. But there's cussing all the time and stuff. Is like, you can be boisterous and think, but you have to say fuck every other word. I ain't gonna say nothing. It's her channel. She does what she wants, and people speak the way they do. And she's an open spoken mind. But I think she's in her 70s. I think she said in one of her podcasts that she's 70 years old or something. She's about the same age as me. Like, what? But so it's interesting that there are some folks, oh my God, we are all getting old. We are all getting old. Holy crap. We are all getting old. I mean, Jeff Dunham said something the other in one of his interviews. He's getting old. Like, wait, I mean, he's a young man. He's been around for 20 years now. And blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute, he's getting old too. Oh my God, Peanut is like 50 now. But holy crap, time marches on, as they say. But I'm coming up on 2 hours. I'm right up from Orange Beach, Hawkeye, Baldwin County, Alabama. Oh, you're on the Alabama side. Okay, Brandy. Oh, crap. It went. Don't fall asleep fishing on a floating pier. My old man woke up and scared the gator eating his chicken bait. Thank goodness. Oh my God. Well, I'll tell you, Brandy, one of these days I'm going to get to Pensacola to see my granddaughter. And I know there are a couple of other folks down there. Oh, right now I can't think. But I would love, maybe we could all get together and go to the beach or do a something. It'd be great. I'd love to meet y'all. I may go to see Jason of all right in Willis, Texas. Ought to pay you a visit. Would love to talk to you live. I know you have a lot of great stories that would make the world smile. You talking to me, Wire? Yeah, my first wife, she passed away this last year, but she was living over in that area. I almost cut my hair, but never will. Yeah, look at how long my hair's gotten. It's really getting long. When I was standing in the pool doing my exercises, I could see it through the camera on the other side that was shooting at me, and I could see my hair down in the water. It was like, holy crap. Yeah, Duggar's right over there. I need to go outside and take a walk and walk around a little bit, and I need to take him outside and walk him. Because I have not been here. So, almost. Oh yeah, know every word to those songs. Yep, I listened to Retrospect for 2 days straight on acid. Yeah, Roseanne's giving him hell, but she's had some really. Um, she interviewed a comedian about 3 weeks ago. Oh, and I can't think of his name right now. And she got in trouble because she's friends with an anti-Trumper. And what's his name? Oh God, he's funnier than fuck. But just go look for Roseanne's channel, and it was a couple of weeks ago on her podcast. Oh, what's it? Ron White. Ron White. Oh God, Ron White is crazier than hell. But it was a really good interview. It was funny. They told jokes, and it was bawdy. But yeah, if you get a chance, um, she's done some other interviews I listened to, but the one with Ron White was that to me, that was the kicker. I really liked that one. So, but anyway, yeah, thank you, Aaron. Yep, it was Ron White. Did you see it? Did you watch it? Much love to all. Thank you for being a part of my journey. And thank you all. I absolutely mean it. You know, Otherwise, I'd just be sitting here by myself. And the fact that I can be a moderator for you all to get together in the chat room, the fact that we share that energy of we are members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. We share the soul tribe energy that Brian had, and there are some of you who don't even know who Brian was, which is okay, but I'm still carrying on our original energy, that Brian and I had coalesced, and God bless him for going off in the way that he did. But I'm so pleased to have known him. And so, I continue to carry that message that he and I had, spawned, I guess, because of our conversations and stuff and our crazy acid trips that we shared and stuff like that. There was a bonding there. But, I know his energy is still out in the universe. And I know he was with me the other day when I just felt like that was that. And it wasn't like I wanted to die or I was afraid to die or anything. It was that this is what dying's like, baby. I don't know. I don't quite understand it all yet. You have a really loving sight here today. Thank you, Wire. Yeah, there are some absolutely great human beings here, Wire. I absolutely agree with that. And I feel so humble that I can be the moderator for this, you know. It ain't about me, but it is. If I don't turn on the channel, then y'all can't get together, you know. And it's not that I am so great, and I don't look at myself that way at all. I look at it as I have to do this because we get together. It's not a me get together, it's a we get together. And I thank you all for that. I do. And let's just continue on. Have no, you know, I'm as long as I'm still breathing, I'm going to be here with chatting about some kind of shit, you know. But and I know that I will continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn, to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. Have faith, my friends. Don't give up. Holy crap. If I'd have given up the other day, I wouldn't be here. You got to put everything, you got to put your soul in. If you want to survive, you got to put your soul in it. You know, trying to crawl back out of that bathroom after hitting the floor, I don't know where I got the energy. I don't know where I got it from, honest to God, other than it's my soul energy. I knew I had to move. I knew I had to get up. I knew I couldn't die on the floor. And it was a close one. It was way too close. I don't want to get there again. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure I know how I'm going to die. And I don't mean that in any bad way. I'm probably going to have a heart attack, and at some point, my heart's going to give out. It's probably going to be how I go, unless I get hit by a bus. Yeah, from within, Aaron, absolutely. And it's, you know, and I've told the story about how I spent 3 days on the river without food or water. And I went entirely 36 hours these last couple of days without any food or water because I was NPO, because I was having procedures done and they wouldn't give me anything to eat or drink. I mean, I got this one guy. He says, "Look, you can have a sip of water," and I was like, "Really?" Yeah. So I was like, got cotton mouth, just you wouldn't believe. You know, spit it out. No, take a sip. I was like, "Really?" Yeah, go ahead. He goes, "It ain't gonna hurt you." That was a lifesaver during that ordeal. You know, I was like, can I have ice? You know, just to suck on. You know, nope. So for 36 hours, I went without food or water, which is interesting that it is very similar to the 3 days I spent in the swamp without food or water. Interesting correlation, I just gotta say. And almost the same time of year, I'm going to try to figure out how many years back. It's been at least 10 years. But so for every one of those times that I've been through an ordeal like that, there's lessons learned. I'm 18 in my head. Yep, just wish my body would understand that and cooperate. I agree. This mostly does can do most anything I was 18, except outlaw the run on foot. Always get up. Yeah. Um, I had one of us came in today, and I'd seen her, met her, kind of thing, and she'd been in and out. And I said something. She was helping get ready to come home, and I told her, I said, you know, next month I'll be 71, and I'm so glad that you all helped me to get better again, so I can go home. She looked at me. She said, "You're 71?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Nah, I don't believe it." But I am, you know, no, don't believe it. So, you know, that's a compliment to me. You know, people, no, I don't believe you're 71. So in my head, to the point where in my head, I don't feel 71, even though I am, you know, and I refuse to accept it. You know, sorry that my heart got bad. Sorry that I had to have a back operation, but on the back operation thing, I walked around the hospital, and it seems that it is starting to really, truly not hurt as bad. Still hurts to walk, I can't stand up straight without it, really triggering some god awful pain. But it's not as bad as it was. So maybe falling on the floor did something to me. I don't know. Or maybe it's the universe saying, "Hey, you've suffered enough with your back. Now let's fuck with your heart. Let's give you something else." You know. But I'm proud to still be here. I'm so very grateful that every one of you come and visit and share your experience. And we talk about stuff. Please, David, if possible, stay out of them. Oh, hospitals, yeah. Um, if ever can do anything for you, let me know. Poor man, but I'm spiritually. That's okay, Wire. And look, I'm in the Moultrie phone book. Okay. You can look up David Nolan, the Moultrie directory, and I'm listed. All right. If you call me, tell me who you are, because if I don't recognize your phone number, say, "Hi, I'm Wire from blah, blah, blah from the internet." I'll call you back. If any of you ever want to bullshit about something, like um, Isby used to call me all the time and we used to chat. Barry and I talk on the phone. Michelle and I have chatted a few times. I'm not sure if I talked to Witch Moon or not, but I've talked with other folks. So if you ever want to chat offline and blah blah blah, I do have a landline. And but you got to look me up in the Moultrie directory. Even though I live near Meg's, I'm in the Moultrie directory. But so anyway, so Wire, if you ever want to just have a chat, having this channel for us people, you're absolutely welcome. I'm so grateful on so many levels, to have the courage to have a channel, to have the courage to speak, you know, the courage to try to be a moderator. I mean, I'm still for myself accepting and receiving the knowledge and the healing from the universe. I'm still learning. I'm still accepting and receiving, and sometimes it comes in weird ways, and we just have to kind of muddle through it. But anyway, I think it's gonna be interesting. The future is gonna be damned interesting. So all I can say is, and I said this when Brian was around. I said we had talked about some things, and I was showing folks in one of the videos about the energies from the sun and how it affects the earth. I was talking about stuff like that, and we went in depth, and we were sharing screens and things and the LASCO stuff and what the sun was doing and how many spaceships are out there flying around in our solar system, and flybys and stuff like that from some of these things. And in that, somewhere it was asked, how do you see the future? And I said, the future is going to be waves of energy that come in, and they're literally waves. Our voices project a frequency that's an energy wave, and so, and I still believe this. The energy waves that are coming from the universe, the energy waves that are coming off the earth, the energy waves from some of these crazy motherfuckers that think this misgender shit. I'm sorry. There's energy coming off of that's not necessarily positive, but it's pushing a frequency up. It's pushing things out of kilter, actually, into the chaos state. Most of you can probably understand we have been in a chaos state since they started the COVID thing. We've gotten better, but there's still the chaos. Whether you like him or not, the idea that they're still trying to impeach Trump, they're still trying to put him in jail is stupid. For any politician, for anybody, why don't they do the same thing to Biden? But this idea, and I did vote for Trump, and he's not my favorite, but that's not the point. I would not vote for Biden under any circumstances. No matter how much I might hate Trump, I would not have voted for Biden. But anyway, so but this idea, so some of this chaos is continuing because these people have a grudge, and there are other people that are getting a grudge against the people who have the grudge. You know, so there's a double whammy here. I've got a grudge against the people, especially in the state of Georgia, who are trying to prosecute him. Let it be. Drop it. No, no, we're going to prosecute him. We want to put him in jail. It's like, you dumb motherfuckers. I'm sorry. I've gotten a little rude here at the end of this video. But some of those things just don't make sense, whether you like him or not. That's not the point. It's way over the top. It's out of bounds. It's into the realm of chaos. And they want to keep us in chaos. And we have to say, I'm sorry, but I don't accept the chaos. Even though it's all around us, we don't have to accept it. We can accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. But nowhere in that statement is, do we have to accept the chaos? Hell no. We do not have to accept that shit. We have to keep an eye on it. We have to keep abreast of it, but we do not and should not accept the chaos. So, you know, Kennedy will do it in 25. I hope he does a good. I hope he has a good chance. I do. I was almost old enough to vote for his father, RFK. I remember because I was still in school. We were following because, you know, Catholics, we have to follow these things. You know, the Kennedys. And I remember from Tampa Catholic that we were doing reports on that 68 election. And oh God, I can't remember who his vice president was from Minnesota. Anyway, I could remember where he's from, but anyway, no, I can see his face. But anyway, and then Nixon won, which actually in the long run wasn't such a bad deal. But the fact that they killed RFK was just after we had witnessed John getting killed, and I actually saw Lee Harvey Oswald get shot that Sunday in Dallas. We were headed to Sunday Mass, and I actually saw Jack Ruby shoot Lee Harvey Oswald that Sunday. So, oh, hey, Steve, how are you? Yeah, we are at war on a lot of different levels, Durams. Absolutely. But and I had my own issues with the war and how I react to it. And I've been quite pissed off at some of the stuff. And I realized that you can't do that, because if I'm pissed off at them, then that puts that pissed off energy in the universe. I don't have to like what they're doing, but I don't have to be pissed off. Oh, there's that difference. And that difference in that you are the consummate observer. You observe everything. You don't necessarily get involved. And you don't, and involved, I mean, spiritually or mentally or physically in any way, unless you choose to do so. I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, I was just thinking about him too. Well, it's been a few minutes ago, but yeah, Light Bulb Johnson, turn him off in November was the saying back then. Light Bulb Johnson. I don't remember that wire. Nice chicken pick. Oh, hope your night makes it better. Yep, I hope your night makes it better too. So, but anyway, in my closing comments, you know, please don't get involved in the chaos, you know, and even by being pissed off. And now, don't get me wrong, in the universe, you got 10, 15 minutes to be pissed off and then quit. That son of a bitch pisses me off. Okay, that's enough. And become the observer. You can state your point of view. You don't have to like it. Not at all. You don't have to agree with it. But you can stay out of the chaos from it. It's 1:28 now. AM. Oh my God. Oh, my clock says, hell, what time is it? 5. That's 6:30, and that's actually 7:30, ain't it? Oh man, I got to get my time back. I noticed that I'm starting to get dark on the screen because it's getting twilight era now. Australia. Oh, the Roms, that's so good. I would love to have some real chats with you. My night shift in the app. It's only 7:30. Yeah, only. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes that I've been. Lady Spitfire. Oh, good to see you. Oh yeah, I'm home. Yep, it's good to see you. You know, you're some of the folks in my list of folks that I'm always praying for. You know, I stay up about 20 hours a day. Ooh, that's a bunch. Chess with me? I like chess, but played not often. I haven't played chess in years because most of the people I meet, well, I know a little bit. No, you have to know a little bit more than a little bit. Well, is that a pawn? What's that called? It's a rook. What? It looks like a castle. I know, but it's called a rook. You know, what's that? It's a knight. Well, it looks like a horsey. What's that? It's a bishop. But it's just a pointy thing, yeah, because bishops wear pointy hats back in the old days. You know, when you got to really kind of like teach them what the parts are, they're not going to be able to play chess. Now you can do a little and teach them and whatever, but that's not real. That to me, that's not a really good chess match. It's only supposed to get down to 85 tonight. Really? Wow. I think it's that now here outside. Let me look and see what the temp is. Oh, it says down here it's 91. Maybe. I think it's a little less than that right now. It gets our low like 78, you know. So, oh man, that's something I haven't had for the last 4 days is a cup of coffee. And tell me, well, you can't drink anything with caffeine because it makes your heart flutter. You can't have anything on. Well, but I've got my little machine and I can drink a cup of coffee and check my pulse and it don't go up. So I will be careful with caffeinated drinks, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop drinking coffee, especially if I can check my pulse and it's below 70. I'm drinking that coffee. I'm sorry, dude. Oh, it ain't gonna hurt your heart if your rhythm doesn't change. So I'm gonna drink the hell out of some coffee. I haven't had any coffee, let alone a good cup. Uh, you know, I gotta I have to go outside and get some rainwater. Everything in moderation. Yep, absolutely, Aaron. That's it. Absolutely. Have the water in the air is so what? Here the water in the air is so high. Oh, really? Oh, you mean the humidity? There you go, humidity. Absolutely. Oh, man, you can cut the humidity down here in South Georgia with a knife. And the fact that I got a river and a swamp in my yard, if the humidity is always up, you know, mold grows on stuff around here, and it's like, what? I had a jacket in the bathroom that was nothing wrong with it, but um, when I fell the other morning, I went back. I tried to go back in there, and one of the things that I grabbed on the way down, apparently, there was mold all over it, and I just had to throw it outside. It's just out there in the yard. I got to go pick it up, but at least it's rained on it and washed some of the mold off. But it, yeah, this time of year it's unbelievable down here. My angelfish is off in freestyle. So anyway, I got to get off of here. It's been 2.5 hours. I really do love you all and hanging out. And Steve, I wanted to call you, but I've been home for 3.5 hours and I've been on here for 2.5 hours. So mist in the air. So anyway, You know I love you, and I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you continue to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe, and stay out of the chaos. And I will see you all soon. I hope. I have promised you all a card reading. And then I had another heart attack. Hey, Lady Spitfire, so glad you made it back to us. Thank you, Lady Spitfire. I was thinking about you the other day and how it was up where you live in Georgia. Just wondering how things were. Enjoy the show. Yeah, you all are absolutely welcome. Thank you for your prayers. I'm namaste, my friends. You know how I hate to say that word, but I mean it. Namaste, my friends. You know, and I really let me get back to the house and get my my chemistry and everything going again. But I really want to do a card reading for y'all, and I'm going to try to do it. You know, Robert has shows, Teresa has shows, and I don't want to interfere with any of that. So I'm going to have to try to find a time when y'all can come on, and I can do card readings, so it ain't 2:30 in the morning. So I love you all. Please, you stay well, okay? And you keep your heart rates right, and you keep your energy and your stomach, especially your stomach, because that can mess up the rest of your system. Keep your chakras in line as much as you can, and continue to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. I am proof of that. If nothing else, I am proof of that. So thank you, my friends. Cheers.